The elite military cyber warfare specialists thought they were dealing with another pretty face trying to play hacker when everything went catastrophically wrong. The stunning blonde they'd been dismissing as basic IT support had just single-handedly prevented a nuclear strike against American cities using cyber warfare skills that exceeded anything the military had ever seen. What they didn't know was that the gorgeous woman they'd been treating like a secretary was actually Staff Sergeant Maya Chen, a former NSA operative whose classified hacking abilities were about to save America from the most sophisticated cyber attack in history while exposing every male specialist who had judged her by her appearance rather than her capabilities. Welcome to Silent Hero Stories. Before we begin, tell us in the comments where in the world are you watching from today. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. Now, let me tell you the secret that Maya had been hiding. The United States Cyber Command represented the newest and most technologically advanced warfare domain in military history, where battles were fought not with bullets and bombs but with code and algorithms that could cripple entire nations without firing a single shot. Located deep within Fort Gordon, Georgia, USCYBERCOM housed the military's most elite digital warriors, specialists who could infiltrate enemy networks, defend American infrastructure, and conduct cyber operations that determine the outcome of conflicts before conventional forces ever engaged. The cyber warfare specialists stationed at USCYBERCOM weren't ordinary computer programmers or IT technicians. They were digital predators trained in the most advanced hacking techniques known to modern warfare, capable of penetrating systems that protected nuclear weapons, financial networks, and critical infrastructure that kept entire civilizations functioning. These were warriors who fought battles in cyberspace that could determine the fate of nations while remaining completely invisible to the enemy targets they eliminated. The 780th Military Intelligence Brigade housed the most classified and dangerous cyber operations in the American military, conducting digital warfare against nation-state adversaries whose capabilities threatened American national security through attacks that could shut down power grids, compromise nuclear facilities, or crash financial systems that supported the global economy. These specialists operated in a world where single lines of code could prevent wars or start them, where keystrokes could save millions of lives or doom entire populations to catastrophic system failures. Which made the presence of Staff Sergeant Maya Chen both fascinating and puzzling to her male colleagues in the most elite cyber warfare unit in the American military. Not because she lacked technical qualifications, her computer science credentials were impressive, but because someone so strikingly beautiful seemed out of place in the sterile, high-security environment where the military's most dangerous hackers conducted digital operations that determine global security. At 26 years old, Maya possessed the kind of ethereal beauty that belonged in fashion magazines rather than classified cyber warfare facilities. With platinum blonde hair that seemed to glow under fluorescent lighting, bright green eyes that reflected intelligence beyond her years, and features so perfectly sculpted they appeared almost supernatural, she looked more like a model who had wandered into the wrong building than a warrior trained to conduct digital combat against America's most sophisticated adversaries. But what made Maya truly mysterious to her colleagues wasn't her beauty, it was her apparent assignment to routine IT support functions that seemed beneath the capabilities suggested by her educational background and security clearance. Someone with her computer science qualifications and top-secret clearance should have been conducting advanced cyber operations, not providing technical support for systems that experienced hackers could manage independently. Master Sergeant Sergeant Morrison, the unit's most experienced cyber warfare specialist with over 8 years conducting digital operations against foreign adversaries, had been quietly observing Maya since her assignment 3 months earlier. What he saw didn't align with his understanding of how USCYBERCOM assigned personnel to operational roles. "There's something about Chen that doesn't make sense," Morrison had confided to his team lead during a classified briefing. "She has the educational background and clearance level for advanced operations, but she's been assigned to basic IT support functions. Either she's here for reasons we don't understand, or someone made a serious mistake in personnel assignment." Morrison's observations were shared by other specialists in the unit, who couldn't understand why someone with Maya's apparent qualifications was performing functions that seemed beneath her capabilities. Her official assignment involved maintaining routine computer systems and providing technical support for equipment that experienced cyber warriors typically handled themselves. Staff Sergeant Ghost Rodriguez, the unit's second most experienced cyber specialist, had been more direct in expressing his confusion about Maya's role in their operations. "I've reviewed Chen's educational background, and she has advanced degrees in computer science and cybersecurity that qualify her for the most classified operations we conduct. But she's been assigned to functions that don't require her level of education or clearance. It doesn't make operational sense." The question reflected growing curiosity throughout the unit about Maya's assignment and capabilities. Her educational credentials suggested someone prepared for the most advanced cyber warfare operations, but her duties involved routine technical support that seemed like waste of her apparent qualifications. Maya's response to questions about her background and assignment was professionally appropriate but revealed little about her actual capabilities or the reason for her presence in the unit. "I'm here to support the team in whatever capacity is needed. Technical support is essential for successful cyber operations." Her answers were accurate but incomplete, providing information without explaining the extraordinary circumstances that had led to her assignment. What her colleagues didn't know, what couldn't be revealed without violating classification levels that exceeded military cyber command security clearance, was that Maya's assignment to routine functions was operational cover for capabilities that surpassed anything conventional military cyber training provided. Maya's background included not just academic preparation in computer science and cybersecurity, but 5 years as an NSA cyber operations specialist conducting digital warfare against nation-state adversaries whose capabilities exceeded what military cyber warfare training prepared personnel to handle. Her NSA service had included penetrating systems protected by the most advanced cybersecurity measures known to modern technology, developing attack methodologies that pushed beyond conventional hacking techniques, and conducting digital operations that influenced geopolitical conflicts through cyber warfare that remained completely classified. But Maya's most significant NSA achievement had been development of cyber warfare techniques that allowed individual operators to conduct digital attacks against multiple nation-state adversaries simultaneously, using methodologies that exceeded what conventional cyber warfare training taught. Her innovations had been incorporated into the most classified NSA cyber operations, though her role in developing these techniques remained hidden even from military personnel who used her methodologies. Her transition to military cyber command hadn't been career change but career continuation, applying NSA capabilities to military operations while maintaining operational security about techniques that remained classified beyond what a cybercom personnel were cleared to understand. Her assignment to routine functions provided perfect cover for capabilities that couldn't be explained through conventional military training. But Maya's most carefully guarded secret wasn't her NSA background, it was the reason she had transitioned from intelligence community cyber operations to military service. During her final NSA assignment, she had discovered a sophisticated long-term penetration of American critical infrastructure by foreign adversaries whose capabilities exceeded what conventional cybersecurity could detect or counter. Her attempts to expose this threat had revealed institutional resistance to acknowledging vulnerabilities that could require fundamental changes to how America defended against cyber warfare. Her decision to join military cyber command had been motivated by recognition that the most dangerous cyber threats to American security might require responses that exceeded what intelligence community protocols allowed, necessitating capabilities that military cyber warfare could provide through operational authorities that civilian agencies couldn't exercise. The classified nature of her background meant that her military colleagues could observe her exceptional technical knowledge but couldn't understand its origin. She appeared naturally gifted rather than specially trained, lucky rather than skilled, beautiful rather than deadly. This misunderstanding would prove nearly catastrophic when a sophisticated nation-state cyber attack tested not just her abilities but her willingness to reveal secrets that could save American lives at the cost of personal exposure. The first indication that Maya's hidden background might become relevant came during routine network monitoring operations that detected anomalous activity suggesting sophisticated penetration of American critical infrastructure systems by adversaries whose capabilities exceeded what conventional military cyber defense could handle. The detection had occurred during Maya's shift monitoring routine network traffic for indicators of foreign cyber operations against American military systems. What appeared to be normal background internet activity contained subtle patterns that suggested coordinated reconnaissance by adversaries whose techniques exceeded what standard cyber warfare training taught specialists to recognize. "Sergeant Chen, are you seeing anything unusual in the network traffic patterns?" asked Master Sergeant Morrison as he reviewed routine monitoring displays that showed normal activity levels across all systems under a cybercom protection. Maya had been analyzing the same network traffic with eyes trained by years of NSA operations against nation-state adversaries whose capabilities exceeded what military cyber training prepared personnel to detect. What appeared normal to conventional analysis contained indicators of the most sophisticated cyber reconnaissance she had encountered during her intelligence community service. "Master Sergeant, I'm detecting anomalous patterns in background network traffic that suggest coordinated reconnaissance by advanced persistent threat actors. The activity appears designed to map critical infrastructure vulnerabilities while avoiding detection by conventional monitoring systems," Maya reported, identifying threats that her NSA experience had trained her to recognize but which exceeded what military cyber warfare specialists typically encountered. Morrison reviewed the same network data that Maya had analyzed, applying conventional military cyber warfare training to patterns that appeared within normal parameters for Internet background activity. His analysis didn't reveal the sophisticated threats that Maya's NSA experience allowed her to detect. Sergeant Chen, network traffic appears normal according to standard threat indicators. Are you certain you're detecting actual threats rather than normal background activity? Morrison responded, applying conventional analysis to network patterns that appeared benign to military cyber warfare standards but represented sophisticated reconnaissance to someone with Maya's background. The exchange revealed fundamental differences in analytical capability between conventional military cyber training and the advanced threat detection skills that Maya's NSA experience had developed. What appeared normal to military standards represented sophisticated attack preparation to intelligence community expertise. Master Sergeant, the patterns I'm detecting suggest nation-state level reconnaissance using techniques designed to avoid detection by conventional military cyber monitoring. This activity exceeds normal background levels and indicates systematic mapping of American critical infrastructure, Maya explained, providing analysis based on NSA experience that exceeded what military cyber warfare training taught specialists to recognize. Morrison faced a decision that would determine how seriously to treat threat indicators that exceeded his understanding of conventional cyber warfare but came from someone whose background suggested capabilities beyond standard military training. Maya's confidence indicated expertise that might be worth investigating even if it exceeded normal threat parameters. Sergeant Chen, if you believe you're detecting advanced threats, prepare detailed analysis for command review. But I need evidence that supports threat assessment beyond normal network activity, Morrison decided, authorizing Maya to demonstrate analytical capabilities that had been hidden since her assignment to the unit. What followed would begin revealing the extraordinary extent of Maya's NSA background while exposing cyber threats that would test not just her individual capabilities but America's ability to defend against nation-state attacks that exceeded what conventional military cyber warfare had prepared the country to counter. Working with network analysis tools and threat detection methodologies that drew on her NSA experience, Maya began documenting evidence of cyber reconnaissance that revealed systematic mapping of American critical infrastructure by adversaries whose capabilities exceeded what conventional military cyber warfare training prepared personnel to counter. Her analysis revealed coordinated probing of systems controlling electrical power generation, water treatment facilities, financial networks, transportation infrastructure, and communication systems that supported American civilization. The reconnaissance was being conducted using techniques so sophisticated that they avoided detection by conventional cybersecurity measures while gathering intelligence that could enable catastrophic attacks against systems that millions of Americans depended on for survival. Master Sergeant, detailed analysis confirmed systematic reconnaissance of critical infrastructure by nation-state adversaries using advanced techniques designed to map vulnerabilities in systems controlling power generation, water treatment, and financial networks, Maya reported as she completed threat assessment that revealed the scope of cyber warfare preparation targeting American civilian populations. Her analysis provided evidence of cyber threats that exceeded what conventional military cyber warfare training had prepared a cybercom to counter, revealing nation-state capabilities that pushed beyond what standard cybersecurity measures could detect or defend against. Morrison reviewed Maya's threat analysis with growing concern about cyber warfare capabilities that exceeded his understanding of conventional cyber threats while recognizing evidence that suggested sophisticated adversary preparation for attacks against American critical infrastructure. Sergeant Chen, your analysis indicates threat levels that exceed our normal operational parameters. If this assessment is accurate, we're facing cyber warfare capabilities that push beyond what our conventional defense measures can handle, Morrison acknowledged, recognizing that Maya's analytical capabilities had revealed threats that required response beyond standard military cyber warfare protocols. But Maya understood that the threats she had detected represented only initial reconnaissance for cyber attacks whose scope and sophistication would test every aspect of American cyber defense capabilities while requiring responses that exceeded what conventional military cyber warfare could provide. 2 weeks after Maya's initial threat detection, intelligence reports confirmed escalating cyber reconnaissance activity that validated her assessment while revealing preparation for coordinated attacks against American critical infrastructure that exceeded the most dangerous scenarios that a cybercom had prepared to counter. All personnel, announced Colonel Patricia Hayes, the 780th Military Intelligence Brigade commander, intelligence confirms coordinated nation-state cyber operations targeting American critical infrastructure with capabilities that exceed our previous threat assessments. We're facing digital warfare preparation that could result in attacks against systems supporting millions of American civilians. The briefing revealed the scope of cyber threats that Maya's NSA experience had enabled her to detect, while confirming nation-state attack preparation that pushed beyond what conventional military cyber warfare training had prepared American defenders to counter. Enemy cyber operations appear designed to enable coordinated attacks against electrical power systems, water treatment facilities, financial networks, and communications infrastructure that could result in catastrophic civilian casualties through system failures, Hayes continued, describing attack scenarios that exceeded the most dangerous cyber warfare threats that military training had prepared personnel to imagine. The intelligence briefing confirmed that Maya's analytical capabilities had detected preparation for cyber warfare that could kill millions of Americans through infrastructure failures, while revealing nation-state attack methodologies that exceeded what conventional military cyber defense could counter. Master Sergeant Morrison understood that defending against the cyber threats they were facing would require capabilities that pushed beyond conventional military cyber warfare training, potentially requiring expertise that exceeded what standard USCYBERCOM personnel possessed. Looking at Maya, he recognized that her analytical capabilities might represent exactly what American cyber defense needed. Chen, I want you on primary threat analysis team for this operation. Whatever background gave you the ability to detect these threats, we need those capabilities, Morrison assigned, recognizing that extraordinary circumstances required extraordinary expertise regardless of its origin. Maya acknowledged the assignment while privately understanding that defending against nation-state cyber attacks would likely require her to reveal NSA capabilities that had been carefully hidden throughout her military service. The choice would be between maintaining operational security and preventing cyber warfare that could kill millions of Americans. The test of Maya's hidden capabilities came when enemy cyber operations escalated from reconnaissance to active attacks against American critical infrastructure, launching coordinated digital warfare that exceeded every scenario that military cyber defense training had prepared USCYBERCOM to counter. The attacks began simultaneously against power generation facilities, water treatment plants, financial systems, and communications networks across the eastern United States, using sophisticated techniques that penetrated cybersecurity measures while causing system failures that threatened millions of civilian lives. All stations, this is a USCYBERCOM Operations Center. We are under coordinated cyber attack from nation-state adversaries with unprecedented capabilities. Power systems, water treatment, and financial networks are experiencing coordinated failures that exceed our defensive protocols, came the emergency broadcast that activated the largest cyber defense operation in American military history. The attack included digital warfare against systems that supported civilian populations throughout the eastern United States, electrical power generation that kept hospitals functioning, water treatment that prevented disease outbreaks, financial networks that enabled food distribution, and communication systems that coordinated emergency response. The cyber warfare was designed to kill Americans through infrastructure failure rather than direct military action. Morrison's response reflected the gravity of facing cyber attacks that exceeded what conventional military cyber warfare training had prepared American defenders to counter. Roger, operations. Implementing maximum cyber defense protocols. Will attempt to counter enemy operations despite attack capabilities exceeding our normal defensive parameters. But Morrison understood that the cyber attacks they were facing exceeded what conventional military cyber warfare training had prepared them to counter, requiring capabilities that pushed beyond standard USCYBERCOM protocols. Looking at Maya, he made a decision that would reveal her hidden background. Chen, your primary cyber warfare specialist for this operation. I don't know what your background is, but we need every capability you have, Morrison assigned, essentially authorizing Maya to use whatever skills she possessed regardless of their classification level or origin. The assignment was both recognition of Maya's exceptional analytical capabilities and acknowledgement that conventional cyber defense might not be adequate for the nation-state attacks they were facing. Morrison was authorizing her to reveal NSA capabilities that had been classified since her transition to military service. Maya understood that defending against coordinated cyber attacks on American critical infrastructure would require her to expose NSA methodologies that had been classified throughout her military assignment. But with millions of American lives at risk through infrastructure failure, operational security became secondary to national survival. Roger, Master Sergeant. I'll use whatever techniques are necessary to defend American infrastructure, Maya replied, accepting assignment to cyber warfare that would expose her true background while potentially saving more American lives than any single cyber defense operation in history. The cyber warfare operation that followed would become legendary not just for its success in defending American critical infrastructure but for the way Maya's NSA capabilities redefined what was possible in military cyber warfare while revealing the classified background that had been hidden since her assignment to USCYBERCOM. Working with cyber warfare techniques that exceeded what conventional military training provided, Maya began implementing digital defense operations that countered nation-state attacks using methodologies that had been developed during her NSA service for exactly these kinds of sophisticated adversary operations. Her approach to defending critical infrastructure drew on every aspect of her NSA experience while adapting classified techniques for military operations that prioritize defensive action rather than offensive cyber warfare. Her methods allowed individual operators to counter multiple nation-state attack vectors simultaneously while maintaining system functionality that protected civilian populations. Morrison, I'm implementing advanced cyber defense protocols that aren't part of standard military training. These techniques will counter enemy attacks while maintaining critical infrastructure functionality, Maya announced as she began cyber operations that exceeded anything her colleagues had witnessed during their military service. Master Sergeant Morrison found himself observing cyber warfare techniques that challenged his understanding of what military cyber defense could accomplish. Maya was conducting digital operations that seemed to anticipate enemy attack vectors while implementing defensive measures that exceeded what conventional military cyber training taught. Her cyber warfare technique was unlike anything Morrison had seen during 8 years of military cyber operations. She was countering sophisticated nation-state attacks with precision and innovation that suggested digital warfare training far beyond what military cyber command provided, using methodologies that exceeded his understanding of cyber defense capabilities. Chen, how are you countering attack vectors that our conventional protocols can't even detect? I've never seen cyber defense techniques like this, Morrison called as he watched Maya implement digital warfare methods that exceeded his understanding of military cyber capabilities. Advanced training, Master Sergeant. Cyber warfare techniques that aren't taught in standard military programs but are effective against exactly these kinds of nation-state attack methodologies, Maya replied without pausing in systematic cyber defense operations that were protecting American critical infrastructure from attacks that would have succeeded against conventional military cyber defense. Her explanation was accurate but understated the extent of what Morrison was witnessing. Maya wasn't just using advanced techniques, she was demonstrating cyber warfare capabilities that redefined what was possible in digital defense operations, countering attacks that would have challenged NSA capabilities using military resources. Her cyber defense operations continued for 6 hours as she countered coordinated nation-state attacks against critical infrastructure while maintaining system functionality that protected millions of American civilians from power failures, water contamination, financial system collapse, and communications disruption that could have resulted in catastrophic civilian casualties. Working with situational awareness that seemed almost supernatural, Maya managed cyber defense for multiple critical infrastructure systems while implementing countermeasures that not only stopped enemy attacks but traced their origins and disrupted the adversary networks that had launched them. Operations Center, this is Chen. All critical infrastructure attacks successfully countered. Power systems, water treatment, financial networks, and communications restored to full functionality. Enemy attack capabilities neutralized through counter-cyber operations, Maya reported as she completed cyber defense that had protected American infrastructure from the most sophisticated digital warfare attack in history. Her radio call was professionally accurate but understated the extent of what she had accomplished. Maya had not only defended American critical infrastructure from nation-state cyber warfare, she had demonstrated capabilities that exceeded what conventional military cyber defense could provide while conducting operations that would influence American cyber warfare doctrine for decades. Morrison's response revealed his growing understanding that he had fundamentally misjudged Maya's capabilities and background. Chen, I don't know what kind of cyber warfare training you received, but you just conducted digital defense operations that exceeded anything I've seen in 8 years of military cyber warfare. Morrison's acknowledgement was significant because it came from someone whose experience represented the highest levels of military cyber operations. His assessment carried weight that went beyond personal opinion, it was professional evaluation from a specialist whose expertise was unquestioned throughout USCYBERCOM. But Maya's revelation of NSA capabilities during critical infrastructure defense was just the beginning of cyber warfare operations that would require her to fully expose her classified background while coordinating cyber defense efforts that protected American national security using techniques that conventional military training couldn't provide. The success of the critical infrastructure defense had established Maya as the primary cyber warfare specialist for operations that continued to exceed normal military cyber defense capabilities, requiring her to demonstrate increasingly advanced techniques while revealing the extent of her NSA training. Over the following week, Maya participated in cyber warfare operations that countered additional nation-state attacks against American government systems, military networks, and civilian infrastructure that exceeded conventional military cyber defense capabilities. Each operation required techniques that pushed beyond a cybercom doctrine while revealing capabilities that could only have been acquired through the most advanced intelligence community training programs. Her cyber operations included neutralizing attempts to penetrate nuclear facility control systems that could have caused reactor failures, defending military communications networks from attacks designed to compromise operational security, and protecting financial systems from digital warfare that could have crashed the American economy through coordinated market manipulation. Each cyber warfare operation required Maya to demonstrate advanced digital capabilities while revealing aspects of her NSA background that had been classified throughout her military service. Her techniques were observed and documented by USCYBERCOM personnel who recognized skills that exceeded conventional training while understanding that her capabilities were protecting American national security from threats that standard military cyber defense couldn't counter. The post-crisis debriefing became legendary in military cyber warfare history as Maya was finally required to explain capabilities that had been hidden since her assignment to the unit, revealing NSA background that transformed understanding of her mysterious skills while establishing new approaches to advanced cyber warfare training. Staff Sergeant Chen, Colonel Hayes began during the formal debriefing. Your performance during this crisis has been exceptional, but it's clear that your capabilities exceed what military cyber warfare training provides. Can you explain the background that made these cyber defense techniques possible? Maya's answer revealed the secret she had protected throughout her military service. Ma'am, I served 5 years as an NSA cyber operations specialist before transitioning to military cyber warfare. My digital training included specialized techniques for operating against nation-state adversaries that proved applicable to defending American critical infrastructure. Her revelation transformed understanding of everything her colleagues had observed since her assignment to the unit, explaining capabilities that had seemed mysteriously exceptional while revealing the classified intelligence community background that had prepared her for cyber warfare beyond military parameters. Master Sergeant Morrison's response reflected complete reorientation of his understanding about Maya's qualifications and the reason for her assignment to their unit. That explains everything I've been observing for 3 months. You're not just a cyber warfare specialist, you're an intelligence community digital warrior whose skills exceed anything our training provides. Maya's NSA background had been carefully concealed to maintain operational security, but the nation-state cyber attacks had required her to reveal capabilities that could protect American national security while exposing the classified training that had prepared her for exactly the kinds of advanced cyber warfare that the attacks had represented. 6 months later, Staff Sergeant Maya Chen was promoted to Technical Sergeant and assigned to develop advanced cyber warfare training programs that would prepare military cyber specialists for nation-state threats that conventional training couldn't address. Her innovations in cyber warfare techniques, developed through NSA operations and proven during the critical infrastructure crisis, became standard elements of advanced cybercom training while establishing new approaches to cyber defense in conditions that had previously been considered impossible to counter. Maya's story became required study in military cyber warfare programs, demonstrating how intelligence community backgrounds could enhance military operations while proving that the most effective cyber defense techniques often came from training programs that pushed beyond conventional military parameters. But perhaps most importantly, Maya's success established that cyber warfare capabilities could exceed what conventional military training suggested possible, ensuring that future generations of military cyber specialists would be prepared for nation-state threats that tested the limits of digital warfare in defending American national security. The stunning blonde who had hidden her NSA background had reminded everyone that true cyber warfare effectiveness comes not from conventional military training but from possessing capabilities developed through the most advanced intelligence community programs, applied to national defense missions that protected American lives from digital threats that others couldn't counter. What they didn't know about Technical Sergeant Maya Chen could have filled multiple classified training manuals, but what everyone learned was that some cyber warriors earn their reputations not through conventional military cyber training but through intelligence community capabilities that redefine what's possible when American national security depends on skills that exceed normal parameters. The gorgeous woman they had assumed was basic IT support had proven that the most dangerous assumptions in cyber warfare are those based on appearance rather than classified capabilities, and that sometimes the most important secrets are the ones that save nations when conventional defenses aren't adequate for the threats that digital warfare presents to those responsible for protecting American civilization from adversaries whose capabilities exceed every conventional expectation. The aftermath of Maya's revelation sent shockwaves through the entire military cyber warfare community. Within weeks, intelligence agencies began reviewing personnel assignments, recognizing that conventional military training alone wasn't adequate for the sophisticated threats America faced in cyberspace. Maya's NSA techniques were immediately incorporated into advanced cybercom training programs, but more importantly, her story changed how the military evaluated cyber warfare specialists. Physical appearance and gender could no longer be used as indicators of technical capability when national security depended on finding the most skilled digital warriors regardless of what they looked like. Master Sergeant Morrison, who had spent months underestimating Maya's capabilities, became one of her strongest advocates for developing new recruitment protocols. "We almost lost millions of American lives because we judged a cyber warrior by her appearance rather than her classified background," he admitted during congressional testimony about cyber warfare readiness. The investigation that followed revealed that Maya wasn't the only intelligence community specialist working undercover in military cyber units. Dozens of former NSA, CIA, and military intelligence operatives had been strategically placed throughout USCYBERCOM to provide capabilities that conventional training couldn't develop quickly enough to counter emerging nation-state threats. Maya's promotion to technical sergeant was just the beginning of a career that would revolutionize American cyber defense. Her story became mandatory training for all USCYBERCOM leadership, ensuring that future commanders would recognize that in cyber warfare, the most dangerous assumption is thinking you know someone's capabilities based on how they look rather than what they can actually do when America's survival depends on their hidden skills. The pretty IT girl had reminded everyone that in the digital battlefield, code doesn't care about gender, beauty, or stereotypes, it only cares about who has the skills to write it when everything depends on getting it right the first time.